Chinese carmaker Chery first landed in South Africa in 2008, hopeful that they would gain traction in the fiercely brand-loyal South African market. They joined the fray with models like the slightly ridiculous QQ3 and the more palatable Tiggo, which was recently revised and is the subject of our assessment this week. We're in Nelspruit and we're about to put it through its paces over a dozen mountain passes. Let's be frank, originality is not something the Chinese car makers take very seriously. When the first Tiggo iteration arrived, it looked like a Toyota RAV4 from 2 generations ago. It retains that basic shape with styling tweaks rolled out on the front and rear. That face certainly has hints of Nissan Qashqai to it, particularly in the design of the new grille. The Tiggo has also gained LED daytime running lights and LED lights at the rear, 17-inch alloys instead of 16-inch alloys, and full color coding. These enhancements culminate in what Chery describes as a flowing, hydrodynamic look, but you can be the judge of that. There is only one engine derivative, and that is a 1.6 litre normally aspirated petrol engine mated to a 5-speed manual transmission. Chery claims it produces 92 kilowatts and 160 newton meters of torque. 92 kilowatts of what exactly? I'm not too sure. This thing is so lethargic and you really have to wind it up furiously if you want to make any progress. And when you do that, the Chery Tiggo protests noisily, running out of steam just before 5,000 RPM. Road noise levels at freeway speeds are less than acceptable by modern standards. The ride quality is fairly reasonable though, but overall, the Chery Tiggo doesn't feel very contemporary. It does have a big boy hooter, however. The interior of the Chery Tiggo has a retro theme. Not in the same way that a Fiat 500 feels retro. I mean, being in here actually feels like you're sitting in something from the mid-90s. When was the last time you saw one of these? Even the standard specification is nothing to get excited about. There are no standout benchmark features here that you cannot get in other offerings at this price. All the essentials are here: an audio system with Bluetooth, electric windows, air conditioning, anti-lock brakes, satellite audio controls, and airbags, but only 2 of them. There is not much good to be said about quality either. There are massive panel gaps and cheap plastics abound. This model only has 6,000 kilometers on the odometer, but the interior already looks quite badly worn. And these seats are clad in a really tacky vinyl upholstery. Not very good. On the plus side though, it doesn't have that distinct adhesive smell that characterizes a lot of Chinese cars. It is still only available as a 2-wheel drive model, but the fact that it's got a pretty decent ground clearance means it's not totally hopeless over gravel and dust. And here's a fun fact for you. Chery says that the Tiggo is the best-selling SUV in Egypt, and maybe we'll have a greater understanding of why that is after we finish our 12 passes, if we finish our 12 passes. So we've been driving off the tarmac for quite a while now, and I must say I'm actually quite impressed. You know, I was expecting it to rattle like an Egyptian gypsy caravan, but it's pretty decent. Now we've been driving through Nelspruit over a mixture of tar and dirt surfaces, but the reason Chery invited us here was to show us that the Tiggo is up to the challenge of dealing with some lightly treacherous terrain. So let's see how it fares. As we mentioned earlier, there is a dearth of power in a car like this, so clearing big inclines and hectic hills might be a bit of a mission, but it seems to be doing well so far. That was a pretty sizable hill. You know, I think the Chery Tiggo is actually a lot more fun to drive off-road than it is on-road. So today we've established that the Chery Tiggo is a compact SUV with some ability on the rough stuff. But is that enough to sway buyers? I'm not so convinced. And this car is not as cheap as you might think. It costs 229,000 Rand. And for that kind of money, you could get something a bit more accomplished and up to date, like a Citroen C4 Cactus or a Renault Captur. The Tiggo might have had some appeal in 2008, but the segment has moved along considerably since then. I'm afraid to report that this Chery leaves a bitter aftertaste.